Okay, my friends, here it is. The Monday morning live stream at the Thrive Like a Viking headquarters. Just got to get this thing situated real quick. Got a new stand. Haven't used it yet, so got to give me a moment so that I don't destroy everything on my desk. Because it's live. When we're live, we're live. All right, so let's see here. Okay, give me just 1 second. Okay, guys, this will have to work. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how it's going. You're a little bit closer than I would want, but there's no way that I can adjust this right now. So, okay, let us see here. All right, guys, let me know where you're at, what you're up to, what you've got going on. Let me know how the sound is. Let me do the sound check real quick. Let us see here. Sunshine. Yes, I like that sound check. So, all right, guys. Well, we got a good episode today because we are going to do a little meditation as usual, and then we are going to discuss a question from one of you guys. Okay, thank you, Lisa T. Says sound is great, no worries. Wow, good to see you, my friend. Maniac 300, yes. Mick, thank you. Pam from South Africa, thank you. Lisa T, Ms. T, yes. Double O Carlos, or is that double op? Like double op buck. Brian Airy, good to see you too, my friend. Sam Potzik, all right. Says, all right, rolled out of bed, let's do this. Yes, very good. Me, I sleep from 11 to 7, pretty much like clockwork, except sometimes now it's midnight to 7 or 7:30. But usually it is 11 to 7, pretty much. And that's a wonderful time for me. Much earlier than 7 is like, why? I mean, if I had a need to, I would. But 11 to 7 is good. Carol Fago, good to see you, my friend, from Canada. Yes. Jerry Bates, all right. Says, ready to step into another day of a new adventure. Yes, definitely. So we got a wonderful question from one of you guys. Let me just read it real quick so I can show you or tell you what we're going to be doing here. So let's see here. Okay, so here's the question for today, and it came from one of you guys. Remember, if you want to have a something discussed, you have to put it into the comments, the actual comments after the video. Good morning, Jamie Copeland. You have to put it into the actual comments of the video, all right? And ask it in question form. Ask it with as much detail as possible, okay? Don't just say, can you talk about meditation or something? You know, you have to put it into form like this, okay? So this person says, can or should meditation practice lead to a state of mind where one gets half meditating, in quotes, throughout the day? Would that be desirable? Could that state be called inspirational flow, or is it just daydreaming? Is there a way of consciously dropping into productive flow or daydreaming? Or is this even an aspect of introverted personality, aka the question would seem weird to consider in the eyes of extroverts? Question mark. Okay, so there is a lot we can discuss on that. Kundalini King, good morning. So, yes. Can or should meditation practice lead to a state of mind where one gets half meditating throughout the day? Would that be desirable? Could that state be called inspirational flow, or is it just daydreaming? Is there a way of consciously dropping into productive flow, or if you want to call it daydreaming? Yes. Yes to all of that. And we will discuss that because that is really what it is about, my friends. It is really what it is about. So let us just commence. 1 second. Yes, Ben Hudson, good to see you, my friend. We are about to commence with the meditation. So let us see. Yes, Ms. T, greetings, blessings, Nate and Tribe from sunny Texas. All right. Aaron Johnson, good to see you. Graham Divine, good to see you. Says, hi, Nate. It's getting really warm here on the Emerald Isle. Really warm. Does that mean it's like 72 Fahrenheit? Nice. Rick, what's up, my friend? We don't see you here on this channel much. good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. All right, guys. So we are going to drop into the meditative state of mind. And then we will discuss the question that was asked after that. But first, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths all together, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Last one. Fill the lungs as deeply as you can. Hold. Hold. Let it go. Now allow the body to breathe however it wants to breathe. Sit in a relaxed position with the spine straight, but the muscles relaxed. If you are doing something, that is also acceptable. Just relax the mind and stay focused, stay present. Just follow the guidance. Allow the body to breathe whatever way it wants to breathe. Some might be breathing shallow, some might be breathing deep. It doesn't really matter. There is no need to breathe in any particular way for this meditation. As you breathe in and as you breathe out, bring your attention to the sensation of air as it flows past your nostrils and into the body. Focus your awareness on that small area, just the ring around the nostril, and feel the air as it flows into the body and out of the body. There is no need to think of anything else or do anything else. Just remain fully aware of this subtle sensation of air. Now, many of you will find already, after only 20 seconds of silence, that your mind is searching for something more stimulating. Already, you have lost focus of the breathing, the sensation of air. Already, your mind is elsewhere, remembering something from the past or fantasizing about something from the future, or just an overall sense of boredom or anxiousness. Come on, something more engaging, the mind says. And so you will find that it is quite difficult, actually, in the beginning to go more than just a few breaths before the mind becomes distracted. This is perfectly normal at first. This is the unconditioned state of mind that most people live in. Every time you find your mind has wandered, just bring it back to the sensation of air as it flows in and out of the body. With each exhalation, you are sinking deeper and deeper into the state of relaxation. Relax the body, completely relax. If thoughts come into the mind, just observe the thought and allow it to drift out of the mind like a cloud passing in the sky. And bring your attention back to the subtle sensation of air as it flows into the body and back out of the body. Relax, relax the face, relax the shoulders. Deeply relaxed. By this point, the whole body is relaxed, but the spine is still straight. Whatever is happening in the mind, you are observing it. You are observing it as it is happening. If thoughts come into the mind, you just observe them and then let them go. Likewise, if there are noises in the environment, notice if the mind becomes irritated. That noise, that dog is barking, that neighbor never shuts up that dog. The mind will run rampant with the storyline. The mind is a meaning-generating machine. It takes situations that are always neutral, as all things are, and it infuses a sense of meaning into them. Just observe this process as it happens in your mind. Maybe the sound of my voice. Your mind says, I wish he would stop talking. He's interrupting my meditation. He's bringing me out of the meditation. If he would just stop talking. Just observe, my friends. Just observe. Witness this. All that is actually happening is sound waves are traveling through the air and playing with your eardrums. The rest is totally fabricated by the mind. Maybe there's a dog barking or someone screaming outside. Just sound waves bouncing through the air. Watch as the mind tries to grab hold of a meaning and make it relevant to me. This is the intricate working of the ego mind that dominates most people's experience. You think you have control of your mind, but is that really the case? Do you have your mind, or does your mind have you? If you have control of your mind, command it to sit still for as long as you want. Focus only on the sensation of air and nothing else. It was only 30 seconds since I last spoke. Were you able to have full control of your mind? Or did it go where it wanted to go? Together, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Last one. Fill the lungs. Hold. Hold. And let it go. As you come out of the meditation, you will open your eyes and immediately a distinction is made, which is actually arbitrary. But the distinction is made between the internal world and the external world, what appears to be 2 separate realms. Now, what is happening? All I'm doing is opening my eyes. Where have I gone? Nowhere. We're always here now. So even though we say something like, well, I want to maintain more of my attention in the internal world, you actually never leave the internal world. Everything is happening within you. Through the meditation practice, we begin to see how little control we have over our mind in the beginning. We do this by giving it an object of meditation. This is so important. We give it an object of meditation, something very subtle. It can't be something with much stimuli, because that grabs the mind. It has to be subtle. And then we command it to rest exactly where we tell it to. Now, in the beginning, it will astonish you at how little control you have over the most important thing in your experience, your mind. The mind precedes everything else. From the mind comes everything. This is why it is the practice among all practices is the meditation. Beyond everything else, meditation is the way. It is the practice. Because everything comes through the mind. This entire realm is experienced, decoded through this device. Remember, we live in an infinite sea of potentiality, an ocean of waveform energy. Look up the double slit experiment, among many, many other scientific things that prove this, and also the yogis have known this for eons. We live in an ocean of waveform energy, infinite potentiality. There is no solidity to anything, no solidity whatsoever. Everything is mostly empty space, what we perceive as empty space. Think of this. If the atoms in your cells, if all of the atoms stopped spinning right now, everything would be totally transparent. You would see through the entire earth. You would see through everything. Because it's all empty. It's all an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that I am touching something. You don't actually ever even really touch it. There's a microscopic, layer of electrical charge between you and what you're touching. Nothing is solid. And so the mind, and I've talked about this so many times, is constantly decoding this waveform energy. It is like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is all around you right now. All around you in your room right now is the entire internet. The entire knowledge of human history, more or less, is present all around you right now in Wi-Fi, whatever that is. It's waveform energy. The information in the Wi-Fi on the internet is surrounding you and permeating you in the form of wave field, waves of information. Now, since this information is all around you, why can't you just grab out what knowledge you want? Why can't you just grab it with your mind from the Wi-Fi that's all around you? Because it's not the right decoding device. In order to access that wave field energy, in order to access that waveform information, you need the proper decoding device. And that is the computer. The computer takes that and decodes it into the knowledge, into the words and the images and all of that you see. So if you have the proper decoding device and it's set right, you can access all of that amazing information that is coming from where? I mean, you can't see it. So to the eye that doesn't understand it, it appears like magic. It would appear like just magic because I can't see it. I can't taste it. Where's the Wi-Fi? Where's this image of me coming to you? How is that happening? Is there a little man inside of your phone device? No. It's magic. But once you understand how it works, it's not magic. It's physics. It's science. It's not magic, of course. There's a cause and an effect. It's the same with the mind. It's not magic. This entire reality is like a cosmic Wi-Fi, existing in waveform information in the same way that the Wi-Fi does, until you have the proper decoding device, which is the human mind. Then you can access that waveform information and decode it into your life experience. This is how much so the decoding device is everything. The health, the vitality, the virility, the overall robustness, the resilience of this decoding device is everything. So this is why we do the practices, because everything comes through the mind. So imagine if we had orange colored glasses on, orange goggles. So everything that we saw would be orange. It doesn't matter how many people, black, white, or yellow, and all kinds of different colors, reds and blues. None of that would matter because we are seeing it through the lens that is orange. So in order to change all of that, you would have to remove the lens. You'd have to change the lens. If you had blue lenses, everything would be blue. In the same way, we see, meaning experience this realm through the lens of our mind, of our awareness. So it is the most important thing that we can do. Sorry, shut your phone off. Come on. So I will get to the question. Well, we're already talking about the question, but let me read some of what you guys are talking about. Vera Witch Lady, good to see you, says hi from very hot Belgium. What is very hot for Belgium? Is that like Graham in Ireland, about 72 degrees Fahrenheit? So the Mick says, I have a hard time not doing garden chores in my mind during meditation. Oh yeah, I understand. Especially if you've got a lot to do. Because the mind wants to say to you, no, we don't got time for this. We don't got time to just sit there. That's what the mind thinks it's doing. But because it feels threatened, because it knows that, the ego mind doesn't exist, as we talked about last week and the week before and many weeks. So it will make you feel irritated. So how many of you, when you go to meditate, just kind of feel like a sense of restlessness, a sort of sense of irritation? Like, come on, uh, there's got to be more. There's got to be something else. The mind has been conditioned to be overstimulated in our modern world, for sure. Yes, Rosa, I know. Um, And so this is why, all right, it has to do with the hardwiring of the human mind, of how we evolved. I use that word lightly. So of how we evolved, but not like in a sense where we're moving upwards in any way, but in a transitioning, change, adapted way. So we evolved to see movement. We evolved to see movement. Yes, movement draws our attention. How many times are you sitting there looking at something, the woods or your garden, and then you're just kind of looking at everything, and then something moves and it immediately grabs your attention? This is our survival instincts. We're predators like this. So we see the movement. We are hardwired to be pulled into the movement. Now, this is one reason that television can be so hypnotizing, because of the movements, the switch, because the mind says, I need to know what's going on here, because that was our survival mechanism. When something changes, we got to know what's going on so that we can survive. And this has all been hijacked, this whole mechanism of the mind, so that now when you see a television, it cut, bam, pow, wop, boom, bah, and it's all these cuts, and everything has to be real fast, and it draws your mind in. Watch a child, a young child, even an infant, 2 or 3 years old, or a toddler. Watch them watch TV, and you will see what I'm talking about. They're just drawn into it. Even adults, even most people that are accustomed to watching TV, you will see them in a total trance, or they're just, well, if you could look back at the television, you would see this. I mean, from the television, you would see this, and it's terrifying. Okay. So this all has to do with the mechanism of the movement, because we are hardwired to pursue stimuli. This is our survival mechanisms. So in the modern world, we are being overstimulated because everyone's trying to grab our attention. And so this conditions the mind to be fractured. This conditions the mind to be choo, 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 little 2 second, 10 second clips like this. Bam, 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 just like that. And so it fractures the mind and the attention span. This is one thing that I noticed when I went traveling in the developing world, in particular, very remote parts of India when I was doing motorcycle expeditions there 2 separate times, and in Nepal when I hiked to the base camp of Mount Everest, and all these places, in Sri Lanka with the villagers and things. The children there, the people there in general, have such long attention spans. The children can just sit there and, with you for an indefinite amount of time. They're not like fidgeting around. They're not like throwing temper tantrums, and they're not trying to do stuff. They're just like really curious, staring at you for a long time because their mind has not been hijacked. So they still have this innate level of peace. Now, I'm going on about this because in the modern world, it is so important to take back the control, to unfracture our mind. And it is through the meditation practice that we do that. We take back control of that. So the questioner says, can or should meditation practice lead to a state of mind where one gets half meditating throughout the day? Would that be desirable? Could that state be called inspirational flow, or is it just daydreaming? Val says, total trance for me. That's why I never watch it. Oh, definitely. Um, yes, thanks, Ms. T says, I have a little trouble of thinking how awesome Nate and my Thrive Tribe family are during the meditation. Yes, I got you, my friend. Um, VA Green, the double slit experiment. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's mind blowing. Absolutely, it is, guys. Some other things. Okay, so can or should the meditation practice lead to a state of mind where one gets half meditating throughout the day? Now, when I first really began the meditations, and I've been meditating since I was 17, which is a long time now, 22, 22 years ago. So I first thought, and I was reading all these books right from by spiritual masters and things, and I thought that okay, so you sit down and you repeat this mantra in your mind, or you count to this, or you try to maintain this image of the guru in your mind. Okay, so I would do it. Okay, okay, and when I found the breathing meditation, I thought, okay, so I need to go 100 breaths, and then eventually maybe I'll go 1,000 breaths, and then and then what? Eventually you go infinite breaths. I didn't know. I said okay, so and I would just really try to go okay. Oh, I only got 30 breaths that time before my mind, went somewhere else. I was counting the breaths because I was under the misconception that the purpose of the meditation is to count your breaths or is to maintain the mantra in your mind. And so, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, things like that. Okay, so that's the point. How many times can I say it? 108 times? Okay, so then you got to have prayer beads to count, the mala. And you gotta check that off. Okay, so how many of those am I supposed to do? And so the more of those that I do, if I do 1,008 chantings, that'll be more powerful for my mind, right? I'll be more enlightened. All these things was the ego mind trying to distract itself from dissolving. Okay, that's what it boils down to. So over the years, and in particular, 5, 6 years ago, when the real awakening happened, well, really like 4 years ago, the real final sort of thing, if you want to say that, is I found that that is actually not the purpose. When I was teaching meditation at the Indiana Buddhist Temple, and we would have classes every Monday and Thursday, a big group of people would come, and me and a couple of the monks would guide them through the meditations. And then sometimes we would go to universities and do meditations there with them, guided meditations. I was still sort of just waiting for it to happen. Like, okay, well, what's the goal? It's really abstract. What's the goal? Okay, so I'm breathing. I mean, my mind at that point, I could go as long as I want to go without the mind going somewhere else. I mean, I was so practicing so much at that time that the mind, okay, drop in immediately, and for as long as I want. But I still, at that point, it still hadn't clicked. It wasn't happening because that's not the goal of the meditations. The meditations are to show you that you are not the mind. You are not this experience. You are not the commentator in the head. You are not this. You are not that. You are not. You are just not anything. Now, if I had heard that from that standpoint before, that wouldn't make any sense to me. That wouldn't, because that wasn't my experience at that time. So it came like this. After meditating for so much, then my whole life became a meditation. People ask me now that knew me then and things, so you still meditating all the time? No, actually, as far as formal meditation, sitting down and doing these, no, I don't formally meditate like that anymore because my whole life has become a meditation. You suddenly wake up. You just suddenly wake up and you see that you've been dreaming your whole life and that now your awareness never leaves you. You're aware of everything all the time, effortlessly. At first, it is an effort. In the beginning, it's an effort. I was putting in a lot of effort. I mean, it's the hardest thing most people have ever done. A lot of times, meditations. I've done several of the SN Goenka 10-day Vipassana meditation courses. You know what I'm talking about? I've done several of those here and in India. And that's the hardest thing. I mean, in India, I was seeing people break left and right and just leave. I mean, it is extraordinarily difficult. 10 days of meditating, 10 hours a day. Simple Vipassana meditation. It's like solitary confinement. It can drive most people insane. So I was making a lot of effort at that time. But then, over the course of the time, and over the course in particular of like a week, it just sort of evaporated. It all just sort of evaporated. And it became effortless. And my awareness remained all the time because I started living from the heart energy. And so, yes, you do. The meditation practice does lead to a state where one gets half meditating throughout the day. It does lead to that. Your whole life becomes a meditation. Everything that you do, your movements become meditative because you're there, you're conscious, you're awake, and you're living from the heart energy. You're not having to question things anymore with the mind. You're not having to be stressed out about things because you're not making a big effort. Life becomes effortless. And that wouldn't have made sense to me from when I was still living from the ego mind standpoint, because everything was an effort. Everything was an effort at that point. But that's the magic, I say magic, it's not, of the practices, is that there comes a time when life becomes your best friend and effortless. All things. Now the ego mind says, well, so what am I supposed to do? Just lay around and eat potato chips all day? Is that what you mean? No effort, make no effort? No. If you look at my life, it appears like lots of efforts are being made to do all kinds of things. And outwardly, yes, it appears that way, but the internal experience is not of effort. It is of effortless flow. It is of question. There's no question, there's no doubt, it's effortless flow. It just happens. It just happens because I've stepped out of the way. That's the key. That's what the meditation does. It shows you how to step out of the way so that divinity can flow through you into this world. That is what it does. Now you have to experience that. Yes, Kundalini King says the universe is mental. Yes, the mind. Flow state. Yes. Rosa says, please explain you are not. I am going to have to replay this video. You know, that's what I want next week to be about, because it's a journey. I can't just say that. You know, there's so many things that just don't make sense. You have to sort of experience things. So next week will be that. And we can lead you guys into the questioning, the observation of what are you? What are you really? What are you really? You think you know what you are, but as we examine this, which we will next week, it will begin to disintegrate, and you'll begin to question. Well, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's so we will go through that, yes, but that's beyond the scope of this moment. So the questioner says, can it lead to a state of mind where one gets half meditating throughout the day? Now, I described something. Okay, so on a more practical sense, yes, you do the practices, your power of concentration grows exponentially. Your power of concentration grows tremendously. How many of you have gone to the gym? And you know, when you first start going, you're doing things and, your muscles get sore and things and you can't really lift a lot. But over time, the muscles adapt and you become strong and you're able to move a lot and you're able to do a lot. Now, this is true with the mind, except the mind is infinitely stronger than any physical muscle can be. It really is. And so you are strengthening this neurological muscle that is called willpower, that is called concentration, that is called focus. These are all very practical things that happen. Okay, what I just described before can seem really lofty, but it's not actually. So yes, would that be desirable? The person says, would that be desirable? Could that state be called inspirational flow, or is it daydreaming? Now, daydreaming is to those who daydreaming can mean many things to different people. Daydreaming can be wonderful. It can be visioneering your future. It can be wonderful. Once you start to have control over things, everything is under your control. And so whether you realize this or not, so you can, once you learn to consciously direct your thoughts and your energies, and you learn to use the unimaginable power of your mind, the human imagination is what creates this realm. This is literally true. That's how powerful it is. That's why there's a war for the image in your mind, because whatever image you hold in your mind most consistently tends to will materialize in the external experience. That is why there is such a war for that internal image implanted into your mind. So if they can implant the image they want in there, you will help bring it about, even if you're unwilling or unwitting. This is why once you begin to understand that through your practices and through your experience, you can consciously use that beautiful gift. You can say, okay, the ideal version of myself, define it in your mind. Strong, healthy, robust. Yeah. Strong muscles and clear looking face, no dark circles and bags around the eyes, no slouched over, defeated sort of expression. No, you envisioned a healthy, proud, resilient, virile you. Okay, the highest version of yourself, confident. And then you set that as the image, and you let the mind do the daydreaming. You let it go on, defining that image more and more. What's that look like? How do you interact with people? How does this version of you interact? How is this version treated by other people? Because you treat other people with respect now. All of these, you just go on and on. You can let daydreaming be a meditation. Yes, once you have control over it. But if your mind is still hijacked and daydreaming is just bzz, bzz, a bunch of celebrity this and that, and a bunch of reality TV show this and that, and news, what's happening in Gaza and all bzz, 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 all this bzz, then no, daydreaming is not going to be a meditation, because it's going to be more programming your own self of what they want. Okay, do you understand the difference? So, let me see what you guys are talking about. Kundalini King, James Allen, get the book, kiddos. Yes, you must be somewhat new here, because we definitely have gone hardcore into that book. I mention it all the time. You're talking about As a Man Thinketh? Yes. Yes, As a Man Thinketh. Yes, Graham, the truth cannot be told. It can only be realized. Yes. Now, what does that mean? Someone's like, well, can you just tell it to me so I can realize it? No. Realize means it becomes a reality for you. It becomes a reality for you. That is what realize really means in a spiritual sense. So you can read all the books you want. Read Osho, read Eckhart Tolle, you can read James Allen, you can read whatever you want and have great theoretical knowledge about all of this. But until it becomes a reality for you, you haven't realized it. That is why your life hasn't really changed. Your experience of life hasn't really changed. You're like, okay, well, I'm meditating, I'm doing all of this, but it's like it hasn't really changed yet, because you have not realized it. It has remained theoretical. So long as the meditation practice remains theoretical, you can get all these books and you can read, you can try all these different forms of meditation, but that is for the theoretical mind. The only thing that needs done is the practice. You just have to practice. The meditation you guys have learned here is the only one you need. It is. Not be, not because it's, well, just because it's simple, it's with you all the time, and it penetrates to the core of reality. And you can practice at any time. Practice is everything. That's the only thing that matters when it comes to spirituality. It seems like reading a bunch of spiritual books and going to seminars and wearing prayer beads and wearing, hemp clothing and having dreadlocks. I was there once. I know this. Okay. It seems like that's spirituality. I mean, I was at a point in life in India living in an ashram, dreadlocks and stuff. If you looked at me, you'd be like, wow, he's really spiritual. But at that time, I was totally lost in the dream. I didn't realize it though. I thought I was spiritual. It was my ego telling me, yes, now you're very spiritual. Look at how spiritual you are. And you're a meditation instructor. Look at how spiritual you are. I actually didn't have a clue. I thought I did, but I was still totally asleep. But only now do I know that. And then once I awoke to the nature of reality, I saw that it doesn't matter at all whatsoever what you look like, how many seminars you've gone to, how many books you've read, spiritual books, if you have 5 prayer beads or 25 huge mountain of prayer beads around your neck, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't signify anything. Nothing in the outward expression does. So that is how I realize that you can be a spiritual hoarder. You can become a spiritual hoarder. You can have all these spiritual books and practice 27 different kinds of meditation occasionally, very, very occasionally. And when you do, it's still just, a few minutes, it's still it's not really going to the core. You can become a spiritual hoarder. All these candles and different crystals and all this stuff, none of that means anything. The only thing that means anything is waking up from the illusion. So the person says, is there a way of consciously dropping into productive flow? Yes, definitely there is. So the more that you practice the meditation, the more you are going to get out of the way. Now, how many of you that have been meditating are experiencing this? Okay? When we do the practice, it's not just for the sake of seeing how many breaths we can go. It is because we are reconditioning the mind to step out of the nonstop stream of thoughts and images. Most people, almost all people, live in a state that is constantly thinking. One thought to the next, to the next, to the next thought, then the next thought, then the next image, then the next want, the next desire, the next aversion to something, the next, boom, boom, boom. They don't even know that there's a commentator in the head. They don't even know that this is a nonstop stream that is happening. So the meditation is to step outside of that stream. At first, it's just for a moment. It's just for a moment. And then the mind gets pulled back into the stream of thoughts and worries and anxieties and planning and joy and happiness and then sadness and then all the range of human emotion. It gets pulled right back into that. But then through the meditation, you step out and you come to the now, the breathing. Oh, yes, the peace from stepping outside of that. But then, wham, before you know it, you're back in. You're back in and back in the whirlwind of all the things that are happening in your life. Bam, bam, bam. And then you step out again. Oh, wait, okay. And every time that you do that, meaning that you let go of the thoughts and you bring your mind back to the sensation, you're reconditioning the mind to be able to step outside of that and observe it, and therefore realize through time that you are not that. You are not that. The whole life situation that appears to be happening is not what you are. And so the more that you do that, you are able to immediately drop into this state of peace. At first, it will just be a few moments, but then over time, and it doesn't have to take that long. It can just a few months of earnest practice, and you will notice these changes. You can just get out of the way. When you're going through your day-to-day life and you've got something that needs done, you can just get out of the way and allow yourself to be compelled from the heart energy that is guiding you. Watch the previous ones we've done about the heart energy, what it is, how it can guide your life. And that is what we do. Yes. And then we're flowing, because where are we? We're nowhere. We're just in the flow. We are the moment. We are what we're doing. Artists get in this all the time. Extreme athletes get in this a lot. Base jumpers, they get in this flow state, but not by their own doing necessarily. Artists sometimes, it can be, but this is what they're doing. Is that it's like a base jumper, for example. It's so extreme that it requires every ounce of their attention, the adrenaline and everything. So all that stream of thoughts and worries and anxieties, there's no room for any of that. So they've stepped out of it, and they feel the peace and the exhilaration and the satisfaction that comes from that. But of course, it requires that extreme situation. So it goes back, so they go right back. They're not strengthening that muscle themselves by just sitting there and doing the meditation. So there will come a time that muscle will become very strong for you, and you will be able to drop into the flow state with just a few breaths, and there we go. Yes. So the Blue Wolf says, I have learned heart language while playing drums with other people. You end up using your body without the mind thinking at all. If you engage your mind, you exit the group conscious. Yes, definitely. Yes, I do that as well with the drums. It's fantastic. Yes, that is the flow state. Definitely. The flow state is when you step out of the way and allow the heart energy to guide you. And yes, you can live your life entirely from the state of flow. Yes, you can. Eventually, it just happens where there's no longer, the illusion no longer pulls you in. It no longer happens. It just loses its power. And so you are in the flow state. Your whole life becomes an expression of the heart energy, and you don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to question anymore. Ms. T says, spirituality resonates from within. You can sense another spiritual being. Is as if your spirits merge in a poetic dance. Oh, that's a very good one. Yes, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can. Because you're tapped into that wavelength. You're tapped into that vibration. When someone has stepped out of the way and became the observer, knows their true self, it creates a field of energy around them. We might call this the aura. We could also call it a certain type of toroidal energy field, energy sphere. Look up toroidal energy field. And this happens. This is emanating all the time from this electromagnetic decoding device. When it is totally aligned, it creates a very strong presence. This is just the natural course of things. So, yeah. So, guys, another thing to look up. Well, we'll talk about that later, actually. Sam Potzik says, it wasn't until life's challenges did I actually get to practice these techniques and still getting challenged for the better. Yes, definitely. Definitely. That is why, what is it? What do they say? soft times, easy times create weak men, something like that. Yeah, there's not the pressure. There's not the pressure to overcome. You need the resistance. You need the resistance. So many of you that will be going through things in your life, and in the time, it seems like, oh, why me? Why am I going through it? This is so miserable, and you're so unhappy. This isn't what you wanted to happen. But if you remain conscious and use it as a tool for awakening, then there will come a time in your life when you will look back at that time period and you will smile. You will be so thankful that you went through that when you did, because it led you, the pressure forced you to become what you are now. And if you truly love yourself, if you have gone to the core and learned who you truly are, what you are, then you will love yourself because you are pure love and nothing else. So when you realize that, it becomes simple. Mick Hegarty says, storms create good sailors. That's a good one, yes. Yes, Brian Aries says, when I create stuff, I am out of my way. Such a blessing. Definitely get into that creative flow state, and you'll feel it more and more instead of questioning every little thing. The meditation practices are where it is at. V.A. Green says, if you're at peace with yourself, everything before has brought you here. That is exactly what we're saying. Exactly. If you love who you are now, meaning you've gone to the core and realized your true self, then every single thing that has ever happened to you is worthy, is what led you here. Remember, the butterfly could never hate the caterpillar. How could the butterfly hate the caterpillar for being earthbound? It was necessary. So, Sir Otto Egg says, how do I be a Viking in this modern world? You have a relentless spirit of exploration. You have a relentless spirit to learn and to grow and adapt. You have a almost supernatural ability to adapt and adapt to. You have no problem leaving the shores of your old life and venturing out into the unknown ocean of the abyss. You have no problems at all with that. You welcome that. And you have no idea what you'll find on the other side, but it doesn't matter. That spirit of exploration and aliveness is what drives you. You allow it to drive you to the other shore of the unknown. Who knows what's out there? But we're going to find out because we're fearless. This is the modern Viking. Yes, the modern Viking, when people, and I get this all the time, but the whole Viking ethos doesn't have anything to do at all with dressing up and pretending like we're some historical reenactors of the modern, carrying axes and stuff. It's the spirit of the Viking that is still alive right now. It's the spirit of, for me, it came through as the Vikings because that is my ancestors, my heritage. And so for you, maybe if you have Native American heritage or whatever it is, it doesn't even matter. It's essentially harnessing the spirit of our ancestors. If it was not for them and their spirit, you would not be here. You are an expression of them. And so I could go on and on about what it is, but it's not, living like a Viking is not dressing up in tunics and drinking ale out of a big horn. No, it's the spirit of unstoppable exploration. Unstoppable. And when they found something new, a new culture or a new land, they didn't just hold on to the old ways. They would let go and they would adapt and they would adopt the new cultures. That's why the Vikings were never conquered, because they just assimilated into the cultures that they visited. This is why. And so we can harness that energy. We need more of that energy in this modern world. Yes? We need more of that energy. I could go on and on about that. Mick Hegarty says, have to clock in now. Have a great week, everyone. All right, man. Thanks for being here. Yes, the ethos. Yes, Graham, it's Earth School, not follow the leader. Yes, absolutely. Sir Otto, those are good questions. Says also, what wisdom of the ladies do the Vikings offer? Ooh, we could get into that sometime, but that would have to be for the members only. I might create a members only section for this Thrive Like a Viking Tribe, actually. And there we would talk about things like that. Things that I wouldn't necessarily talk about with everybody. So I'm contemplating doing that. It would probably be, even though it would really benefit women as well, it would probably be more, men would get a lot more from it. I'm contemplating doing that. So, because some things would be a little inappropriate, for this audience. And I'm all about making things real wholesome, And so it would still be wholesome, but it would be of a different nature, you know. So, okay, guys. I hope that answered the question. I hope that answered the question. If you have questions, put it into the chat. Put it into the comments, please. Whatever you want, and we'll eventually get to it. All right. Val says, I'm in for the members only, even though I'm a granny. Yeah, I mean, it would benefit anyone, really, because then, especially, you can then help to guide young men, if they're the young men in your life, or whatever it is, or young people at all. I don't know yet exactly, but I know that there's a lot of things that I do want to talk about here that is not, I feel is not entirely appropriate for the whole audience, like the Taoist secrets of love, those kind of things, if you know what I mean. Yes, John Evans says, thank you for all you share on each of your channels. Yes, you're very welcome, my friend. I'm happy that you're here. Aaron Johnson says, oh, I'm definitely joining the members only. Yeah, I believe you. So Sir Otto Egg says, can you give me one Viking practice to start today? One Viking practice to start today, cold training. That is the ultimate practice. Cold training. Begin. You can begin with cold showers. We will get much more. I'll make more videos, actual videos about that this winter. But cold training, definitely. That would be the number one. If you want to experience it, go and get 40 pounds of ice and put it into the bathtub after the bathtub is full of cold water, and then get into it. Or you can start by taking cold showers. Cold exposure. That's where it's at. Yep, Sam Potzik says ice bathing. Okay, guys. So infinite spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Did we just get a donation on this channel? Oh, $40. Sweeping page. Thank you very much. That'll get us over the $100 threshold for this channel. Thank you. Because if your channel doesn't make over $100, YouTube keeps it every month, and this channel most times actually doesn't even make that. So now it will with that. So I appreciate that. Now we will get the whole 100. So thank you, Sweeping Page. And yes, guys, remember, if you shop on Amazon, shop through the links in the description. Just go to my Amazon storefront, enter Amazon through there. Anything that you buy during that browsing window session will go towards the Viking Tribe, contribution. So that is how we keep all the channels free of any kind of sponsorship. And so I'm constantly getting hit up for people asking, hey, Garden Like a Viking, can you promote our product? We notice you've built a good audience. And I'm like, no, I've looked at your product. It's not the right fit for me. I've probably done that 150 times. I mean, at least. So, but in order to do that, we do have to make money, of course. And so the easiest way you can do that is the Amazon shop. If you're shopping already on Amazon, do it through the Viking link. Okay? Thank you. And Sweeping Page says, I've been going out of my way to make all my Amazon purchases under your affiliate account, although I saved some money getting lemons directly from the source. Yes, thank you very much. And I know that that's true because the Amazon account has gone up considerably the past couple of months since I've been recommending people to do that. So it's only a small percentage, but it's better than Amazon keeping it all. So why not direct it here? It makes no difference. The price to you makes zero difference whatsoever. So it's super easy, all right? All right, guys. Till next time.